Right, let's dive straight in. Today, in this explainer, we're exploring exactly what happens when our most basic human needs are completely neglected. We're unpacking a brilliant blend of psychology, pop culture, and practical behavioral shifts to help us reclaim our internal safety.
Is looking after ourselves extravagantly self-indulgent? Well, possibly, but is it juicy? We certainly hope so. We're uncovering the mechanics behind a quietly revolutionary Thursday meetup in Brisbane, Australia. It's a space where people gather for just an hour to discover what they actually need. It asks a pretty vital question. Is looking after ourselves self-centered? Actually, it is, but only in the healthiest possible meaning of the expression. If you've somehow become separated from your own center, it is absolutely worth finding out where it went.
Section 1. Needs in Disguise. The Basement.
The crucial point here is that human needs are going to influence our behavior, whether we acknowledge them or not. Ignored needs do not just politely pack their suitcase and leave. No way. Instead, they slap on false mustaches, assume completely new identities, and begin running parts of your life from the basement. It's a wonderfully absurd, slightly humorous image for a very serious psychological reality.
Think about how these disguises actually play out in practice. An unmet need for belonging? That might mask itself as a desperate, unquestioning loyalty to a group. A need for status suddenly turns into the relentless, exhausting pursuit of achievement. And a neglected need for meaning? Well, that might make someone highly vulnerable to an impressively confident guru selling the one great truth, usually delivered with dramatic lighting and a monthly subscription. When we finally recognize the real needs driving our behavior, we become much more difficult to manipulate.
Section 2. Redefining true safety, the illusion of control.
Which begs the question, what does safety really mean? When you hear the word safety, you might instantly picture a locked door, a healthy amount of money in the bank, or a highly controlled daily routine. But safety is not just one simple external thing.
We often attempt to organize every single detail to create external safety, earning more money, removing every ounce of uncertainty, predicting every possible outcome. But relying on those external band-aids means the deep breath never actually comes. True internal safety, on the other hand, is the quiet, powerful knowledge that you can handle yourself when life inevitably becomes uncertain.
And speaking of that deep breath, you know the exact one I mean. It's the one where your shoulders finally drop, the internal guards stand down, and something inside quietly signals, for this moment, I am all right. That right there is the feeling of genuine internal safety.
But here is the massive irony in all this. An unmet need for safety can sometimes appear as anxiety, avoidance, or social withdrawal. We think staying home protects us from unpredictable human beings. However, spending all our time avoiding people actually leaves us with fewer relationships and less confidence. It actively weakens our support network, which ultimately makes us feel much less safe. We are essentially engineering our own insecurity.
Section 3. The Madonna Lesson, the Stage.
Now, you might be wondering, what on earth could Madonna possibly teach us about internal safety? Well, quite a lot, actually. Madonna has spent decades being adored, mocked, judged, and rediscovered. Entire groups of people have changed their minds about her repeatedly. The public lesson here is that she recenters and continues because her safety doesn't rely on the crowd maintaining a stable opinion of her. There's this fantastic idea, a Madonna-like paraphrase, if you will, that every Leo knows their worth, even if they had to learn it the hard way. It perfectly captures the essence of possessing a strong internal center. People can love you this week, hate you next week, and love you again the week after. The secret is having that internal center to which you can always return, regardless of the crowd's endlessly shifting moods.
Think of this as a highly practical framework, derived from Madonna's Leo Sun and Virgo Ascendant. The Leo part remembers its immense value and doesn't surrender the throne just because someone disapproves. Meanwhile, the Virgo part gets practical. It examines exactly what happened, adjusts the method, fixes the hem, reorganizes the lighting, and gets right back to work for the next grand entrance.
So, the crucial takeaway is that internal safety doesn't mean we refuse all criticism or pretend to be completely invulnerable. It just means we don't hand our nervous system over to the crowd. The crowd does not hold the title deeds to our self-worth.
Section 4. Skipping the 6-act opera, the script revision.
Okay, so how do we practically apply these insights when a powerful emotion hits and our attention narrows right down into fight or flight? Well, when you are safely anchored in your center, you don't need to perform an exhausting theatrical justification for your boundaries. You can execute the truly revolutionary act of just saying, "No, that does not work for me," without delivering a massive six-act opera explaining why. It is simple, it is incredibly direct, and it preserves your precious energy.
Section 5. The Brisbane Gatherings, the Community Room.
All of these concepts come delightfully alive at those Thursday evening gatherings in Brisbane that we mentioned earlier. What's absolutely fantastic is that these meetups operate entirely outside the realm of traditional therapy. There's no mandatory excavation of childhood trauma. Instead, participants sit among equals and ask rapid-fire, practical, future-focused questions. What need could be operating underneath this? Is my current strategy actually working? What could I try instead? It's all about sparking real, tangible behavioral changes.
And these gatherings embrace wonderfully different ways of meeting needs. They blend hypnosis concepts, focusing on subconscious patterns and suggestions, with optional astrological starting points. It's about finding the exact behavioral shift that makes your mind go unexpectedly quiet as you realize, oh, that one might actually work for me. It's warm, it's funny, and it completely accepts our beautifully imperfect collection of human patterns.
Which leaves us with one final, incredibly important question to ponder. Are you ready to stop letting mustachioed needs run the show? You don't need to have everything worked out today, but you really must ask yourself what might happen if you began meeting your needs deliberately, rather than leaving them in the basement to secretly run your life. It's time to pull off the false mustaches, recenter yourself, and take back control of your nervous system.